genuinely shocked that Sam did not get to this yesterday, because this is incredible. I know he's probably having a little bit of FOMO since we're just going to talk about it here. But New York Post, I guess, spoke to 10 different former employees of Steven Crowder. So that's very which is like
more than his current number of employees.
I know. I mean, this is a well-sourced article. And of course they speak to the Post, which is a right-wing publication, but
it's like,
again,
we talked to 15 Majority Reports. I'm like, did we ever have that many people on payroll?
It's like everyone and then some spoke to the Post about the work environment there. And Steven Crowder, according to what was said to the Post, exposed himself regularly to people that work for him. Let's go through what some of the Post had to say here. Let's pull this up. So here we go. Numerous former employees of the provocateur allege these types of unhinged tirades were commonplace inside the Louder with Crowder office. So this is in response to the video that was released, Yashar Ali, of Steven Crowder treating his wife horribly when she was pregnant with their children. I'm not shocked, but it was pathetic what he did to Hillary, a former employee told the Post. That might not be the Steven you see on the show. It is.
It is.
But that was the real Steven. The Post spoke to 10 former employees who claimed Crowder ran an abusive company where he screamed at his employees, including his own father, exposed his genitals, sent out directives to arbitrarily fire people, and made underlings wash his dirty laundry. Okay, so the details about the exposing himself, I mean, again, we're talking about Freud having a field day with Crowder just before we have this information. Here we go now. The former staffers worked for the show at different times from its inception in 2016 through 2022. The vast majority had left the company voluntarily. They requested anonymity because they either feared retaliation or had signed NDAs. All said they felt compelled to speak out about the media personality after the sickening footage was made public, and his former co-host Dave Landau called him a bully in an interview last week.
Can I just ask the group here, have any of you signed an NDA for your work in media?
No.
No.
Oh, Bender, we can't hear you at all.
We can't hear you, Bender. Now you're...
Well, yeah, so I guess that answers the question.
Yeah, right.
Silence directly.
I mean,
Silence.
like maybe some of the larger corporations, like so Bender's experience might be different, but Bender, are you there?
Yeah, you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
I was just saying that I'm actually not allowed to talk about my time at the Majority Report.
All right, let's skip down. I don't need to see all this. I want to get to the weird.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to see this Crowder. I really just don't. Charismatic and kind at times, a volatile Crowder can also be controlling,
Okay.
and I don't care about that. All right, here we go. And while the Louder with Crowder ethos was politically incorrect, his antics crossed the line. He was known to expose his genitals to staffers, many ex-employees told the Post. 6 sources said they witnessed such lewd behavior firsthand. 6 people said that they've seen Steven Crowder expose himself in a workplace environment. 6 former staffers that we know of.
I knew people who were who had the same sense of humor, I guess you can say, as Steven Crowder. They definitely were not surprising that he would be a genital exposer for laughs guy. Honestly, it seems like it fits the guy to a T.
Oh, totally.
Not saying, obviously, I'm just saying it's totally the type of person that he is.
It's wild to be doing it age 35.
Yeah, with your workers, not in high school, not in middle school, not at a frat house.
Right.
In your workplace.
Not on on the 10th grade football bus.
not just your coworkers,
I mean,
your
he
employees.
also does seem
employees,
he also
right?
does seem like someone who's stunted in that time period, though. Like he's forever stuck living as a person with that sort of mentality.
Brian Arthur.
You're being way too generous here, Matt. Like, I mean,
I don't know what kind of
I'm really not trying to. I'm actually trying to demean him and say he's a dumb idiot whose brain functionality is that of a preteen or teenager.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
just feel like
Brandon. Yeah.
If you can believe that like really cringy article he wrote about like how he waited till marriage, not that there's anything wrong with that, to have sex with his wife, that people were referencing last week. Like, I just personally think it'd be weird to have more people see your genitals like involuntarily than like voluntarily, like at the ratio.
You would think that, Brandon. But here's the thing. So let's pull this back up
He's
here.
a predator. This is the thing.
Well, yeah, here's change my mind. Steven Crowder's a predator. I mean, like, okay. So he called this former staffer not gay Jared, which is, I guess, a joke.
Oh, I remember this guy. This guy's been talking shit about Crowder for a while now.
Not gay Jared said that he, I think he's one of these NDA people, but
Yes.
he said, he's there for Hillary Crowder and was horrified by what she went through.
But Jared didn't come in and say, I'm not gay and this is my nickname. This was what Crowder called him. And Crowder repeatedly exposed himself to the man he says is not gay. It seemed to be a little bit at the top of his mind, gayness related to Jared, the man that he chose to expose himself to multiple times. Here we go. A former staffer recalled driving back from Illinois in a van after a college show in March 2018 when former producer Jared Monroe, whom Crowder dubbed not gay Jared, was targeted. Scroll past this. Jared was asleep in the last row. Steven was in front and he was joking about what he was going to do, the staffer recalled. He climbed over and dropped his junk on the top of Jared's shoulder. That same person also claimed Crowder exposed himself to Jared. Once again, Jared! In 2017, while they were in the green screen room filming a parody of Ghost. When asked about both allegations, Monroe told the Post, no comment. During a 2018 flight with 6 people at the company, another former employee said they witnessed Crowder put his testicles on his assistant and childhood friend, John Goodman.
You know what it's like when you're traveling somewhere and you want to take your balls out?
John Goodman.
A fourth employee said Crowder exposed himself to former co-host Dave Landau at the conference table with others present. Landau did not respond for comment.
Landau's also estranged from Crowder at this point,
Yeah,
right?
well,
Yes, that's the guy who would sit in that little chair next to him and just butt in like his Andy Richter or whomever. I don't want to compare him to Andy Richter, by the way. Didn't mean sorry, Andy. But
Andy catching strays.
This is
I didn't mean that.
An important note given Crowder's response here is this one. Numerous sources noted these incidents were not part of any sketches, many of which could be body and off color.
Uh-huh. If your manager at Red Lobster did this, it would be national news, said the witness. I
don't know if it'd be national
I don't
news.
think so. I mean, they cared. That was
This does happen quite a lot, actually.
yes, sexual harassment in the workplace when there's less spotlight on it honestly happens more because no one's going to write to the New York Post about it. Yeah, exactly.
It also sort of shows even where these people are coming from, though, right? Like, oh, this is a big deal because it's happening to me. But, we know how we talk about it on the show where this never really happens. And women are just obviously, or men who even dare to come out are just obviously crying about nothing. Yeah, But, I mean, all these people know exactly the type of person Crowder was. That's that same thing, though, that I was just saying there. Crowder would do this to other people on the show who the targets or the targets of his segments or whatever, and for them to act surprised that he would also treat them like garbage. I mean, it shouldn't be surprising.
I don't think it's surprising if you take him at his politics and his professional sort of like his ideas that he shares professionally and politically and also publicly. But I think, just as a rule within our society, we do a good job of like running interference for people who make their money doing stuff like this. And largely we do it by like insisting either, implicitly or explicitly that they must be good at home. Like, yeah, you see like Tucker Carlson on news, like arguing that like people should be put in camps or some other really atrocious shit. But when he goes home and takes off his newscaster cap, he puts on his like family man cap, he has to be a good person at home because there just has to be some redemptive feature of these people. Otherwise, it would just be hard to want to do the like rigmarole of media with them. If you knew like the person who was like also advocating for, that the person who was advocating for trans people to be gender genocided, was also like a wife beater, within our society, that would make them a worse person, the latter part, than they were just when they were advocating for genocide. Because we just make, we make exceptions for that kind of thing. So I think it's important that people who work for these kinds of people like come out and start really disabusing people of that kind of like internal like legwork that they're doing or rather caping that they do for these sort of people by just assuming that they're good at home, because there's no reason to believe that. Like when you say that, like you would expect him to be different. Like, no, I would look at his show and expect him to be just like this.
I would expect him to be worse.
Yeah, he advocates for people to be like this on their job, basically.
No, we said this about the footage of his yeah, right. He exactly on the he advocates for people to act like this at their job, but he advocates for people to act like this to their wives. I mean, what we saw in that footage was a natural extension of what he advocates for on the show, which is treating your wife as property and as your personal butler. But Crowder did respond to this. We got to watch this too, because I don't even know what to say. This was his reaction. It's like, okay, to now bolster Binder's point that he's so stunted. I mean, I think there's like a lot of weird homoeroticism here that I'm hinting at, obviously, but I can't say that for a fact. And deep repression. But the stuntedness is also a part of this. And like, this is what Crowder had to say invoking superheroes. So
and it's funny, like that thing is, it reminds me, I think it's Jean-Paul Sartre who talks about anti-Semites. Maybe I'm wrong about the quotation or citation, but how anti-Semites think about Jewish people more than Jews do.
And
just to give a clarification on this segment, this is a segment with a character they call HR Sam, who like comes in and discusses some of the like more unsavory stuff they've said or done in recent weeks.
Hilarious.
So this is him doing that segment, but specifically about the Post story.
And I would just point out that line in the Post story about how all the people talked to said this wasn't part of sketches, and what Crowder's defense is here.
Okay, all right. So now there's this newspaper article out this morning where it says, quote, Crowder was known to expose his genitals to staffers.
Well, hold on a second. Yes.
Yeah, well,
yes.
Just wait.
I mean, that did happen. I mean, what are you talking about? The Terminator 2 sketch?
No, but at the time, you only had 5 employees, and they were all male.
Well, yeah, I know, but it was a Terminator 2 sketch because remember the nudies didn't fit?
Oh,
that one.
Yeah.
Well,
so is he trying to imply there that
it can't be weird?
You wouldn't expose? It couldn't be weird if you're exposing yourself to men.
Yeah. I just feel like, when you're reading this sort of thing, you're not Crowder in this room. You got to be, signing your own death warrant here.
Oh, my God.
You're running interference for a dude who's going to put his testicles right on you after this. Like you just got to accept that. And
you got to prepare
that
yourself.
Good over there.
Make sure you get some hand sanitizer, I guess. But like,
he's done it to everybody else, but not me. He's not going to put his dick on me. That's what this guy's face is saying right there. Like, he can't put his dick on not gay.
First
Jared,
they came for not gay Jared.
Not for me though.
Now there
was
are
it the ET ones through the cornfields where we had to run naked through the cornfields?
Yeah, we were naked in that one. Yeah,
we were naked in that one too.
That was a good one.
That was the night though.
Was it gay Captain America? Because what happened is
cold.
Wait, hold on. Pause for a second.
Didn't fit, so we just had to make it a nosy.
I would argue.
Do these guys know that even in like major motion pictures and well-directed art films, indie films from famous directors, they're not always actually nude when filming a nude scene? Like, do these guys think they have to actually run around nude even when they are filming for?
No, they want to run around nude together.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So I would argue that. I would say, like, even if you're disputing their version of the story. If you have written so many skits for your own show that require you to be naked and that your testicles could just slip out at any point, it still seems a little suspicious.
Yeah, it's like
why are all your scenes nude? Why was the ET one nude?
Yeah, it's like I'm writing the script, and in the script I play the main character, and I make out with Kate Beckinsale like 4 times.
Yeah, I mean,
it's art.
It's the equivalent of Quentin Tarantino writing himself into that sketch where he sucks on Salma Hayek's toes. It's like, we get it. We get that that's what you're into. At least Quentin gets that's what he's into. Steven doesn't get what
we don't.
He only wrote it once, apparently.
We didn't do a lot of sketches for TMBS, but for the ones we did, never once did any of us lose an article of clothing.
All right, keep going.
fields where we had to run naked through the
y'all were
cornfields?
naked in that one. Yeah,
We were naked in that one too.
yeah. Good one. That was the night though.
Was it gay Captain America? Because what happened is
wasn't.
the onesie didn't fit, so we just had to make it a nosy, and there was no.
Well, now that there are ladies here, we have to run things differently. This isn't like the Terminator clip.
Well, I know it's not like the Terminator clip. Do we have? Well, yeah. Do we have the Terminator clip?
Let's play the clip.
Yeah, I got it here.
Yeah. Okay.
Again, this is irrelevant because none of this is pertaining to skits. I'll just say it's for the character.
Look, okay, of course, yes. Many people saw my balls.
Well, yeah,
But I had a sock on because the nudies wouldn't fit. You couldn't do it. Yeah.
right. Yeah. You
Yeah.
have a large posterior.
Yes, exactly.
So nudies don't.
And there were also times where we played the spot the ball game.
Yeah.
Well, we need to stay on topic as well.
Okay.
Fine, it was a topic.
Continuing with the infractions, Riley said, quote, "Govern me harder, daddy."
Riley?
Oh my God, I feel really.
She
ran away.
She doesn't seem remorseful.
Wow. Jeez, Riley.
Riley said that. These aren't all that bad. I mean, but thank God we didn't get to the Hodge one. Your mic isn't really working all that well.
Yeah.
I think. Wait. Actually, hold on a second. The gain, you hit the gain button over here.
Oh, okay. Let me.
Yeah, you got it.
there.
Is that your testicle?
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
Hilarious. So he did it to him, I guess, in the joke form, at least. So, Steven, you didn't respond to any of the examples given in the article. It was done not off camera, when traveling, at workplace events, not a part of sketches. That's not how it happened. It happened in private. Because you wanted it to happen, didn't you, Steven?
Good jokes, though.
I'm very interested in what he was possibly yelling at his dad about in the workplace. I mean, I would like to imagine it
Not
as
looking at his
something like,
testicles.
"Dad, I'm a grown man. I can debate Sam
Yeah.
Seder if I want to. You can't stop me." Okay, Dad, I won't do it.
That
be
is
something
very
like
like.
that,
I mean, look, the pulling your junk out is something that I'd be super embarrassed to have in a national newspaper, but yelling at your dad is also like, come on, man.
Come on, dude. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, again, I don't want any of like what I'm saying here to be construed as homophobic in any way. The reason I bring it up is because they advocate for really horrific policies towards gay people and repressing people's feelings in that way. And I'm sure there are many listeners and watchers of Steven's program, and like, you know, the Post article says that he basically hires a lot of wide-eyed fans who
To move to
move
Texas.
and work for him. And there are a lot of fans of Steven Crowder who maybe came upon his content, and I don't know what appeals to them about it, but it does. And they're probably getting a lot of really harmful messages that Steven tells to himself about his own feelings that is going to harm other people. And so that's why he's so dangerous.
Well, and it's abusive technique, you know, like Steven's psychology, pretty difficult to decipher. But like, even if like LBJ did similar things to AIDS, like inviting them in to force him listen to something when he's taking a crap or pulling his dick out, and it was to establish power. And like you're doing that at a workplace is absolutely fucked up, whether it's all men there or not. Like it's just, and it's so arrested. Like this is like 15-year-old that cannot handle the different hormones and emotions of becoming an adult male. Like man, it's so embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're just, if you have enough money in the society and enough clout, you can just run like a little mini cult, like in your like in like a Texas compound.
Right.
Like he's basically like that like little Twilight Zone kid who could turn everybody into like the fucking Jack in the Boxes if they didn't like get him cereal on time. Except instead he just shows you his testicles, and you know. Ultimately, I think that people will hand wave it, you know, at least this part, maybe not the abusing his wife part, but they would have hand waved it if it wasn't part of this like big deluge of, you know, he's bad as a person at home too, because like, yeah, it just kind of really disabuses people of that like narrative of this redemptive family man. Like, yeah, he might be a piece of shit. Like he might be, you know, a cop who shoots black people or a military veteran who committed war crimes, but he goes home and he hugs his like family and kids, and, you know, whatever you do in service of that is redemptive. And only to find out that these people are really bad at homes, like you could have probably assumed from like watching their television show, you know, it's the plausible deniability that they thrive on. And once they lose that, it's really hard to maintain the same kind of appeal to people who want to pretend like they're not that bad either.